Writing advice is everywhere, even on the Right Mindset channel that you're watching right now. But I know because I put it there, actually, quite aware of it. But I am going to go over 4 areas of advice on things that, in the grand scheme of being a writer, aren't always necessarily talked about so well, kind of. Think of today as a way to get your mind thinking about these things and how to approach your writing process. Remember, it's not always about doing it this way or that way, but trying things to find out what works best for you and where you need to adjust the rules or ignore them altogether. So today we're really talking about writing advice no one talks about, but should. By the way, before we get started, please subscribe and hit that bell icon so you don't miss out. Number 1, the fun has just begun. Remember, writing is easy. Sarah met Chris. Being a writer is hard. The brain has to be in a state of asking questions, making choices, breaking things. Remember, you have to try to break your story to make sure it works. But you're also trying to find all of the ways to make it work in an 80,000 word book, sometimes more. But still, writers need to have conviction in and for the choices they make. Again, writers must have conviction in the choices they are making and for the choices they are making. Because being a writer is hard. Writing is easy. Sarah met Chris, but being a writer is hard and can suck the fun right out of the process of getting to write fake, made up stories about dragons, crime, love, or spaceships. Yeah, that's right. Writing is fake. I don't know if you notice. We make it up. It's all, even the rules are fake. They're just developed rules that we agree with or don't agree with as we develop as writers. So why should it even or ever be harder than that? It's all made up, right? I could just write what I want. Well, because like anything, writing isn't just okay, well, sure, there's AI, but don't use AI. This is not about AI. don't use AI. You want to play football at pro level, right? So do you wake up one day and go, hey, I'm a pro football player. Let me just put that into ChatGPT. How do I be a football player? No, you got to wake up and you got to kind of like put a little work into it, right? You got to strengthen yourself. You got to get better skills. You got to run drills. You got to learn how to do the thing. The answer is to have a plan. The answer is to say, hey, I know I have a story in my head, but how do I create the tools and the craft to write that story? The creative process is meant to be filled with joy. It really is. It is a creative medium. It's all about playing in a playground. It's a child's mind having fun playing make-believe. We're adults playing with dolls of words. We are just my G.I. Joes, the Barbies, whatever. It's all make-believe. It's filled with an emotional connection too. When we write, it's not just words, not only to us, but our job is to put emotions into the behavior of characters. If you're writing a story that just doesn't bring you joy, it's okay to stop. Remember that. It's okay to come back to it later, and it's even more okay to move on to something else. Writing should be an investment of your peace, joy, and that magical connection between the real and the unreal. Even if you're writing a romance or a thriller and getting into the mind of the serial killer, it's all part of the fun. And if you're writing to write a bestseller, but you're not happy, maybe try this. Write what matters to you. Write with purpose. Write with a sense of saying something more than a dragon arrived, a crime was solved, or the couple fell in love and lived happily ever after. You are not beholden to write that. You are not beholden to write what's not, in essence, connecting with your soul. If you don't care, no one else will. So place a little something, something into it. Write what matters to you. All right. And by the way, if you want to be a pro football player or a pro writer, you do have to find the joy in getting up every day to go run those drills. And that is more than just writing your book. Your drills are practicing your immersion, practicing craft, practicing and understanding what you like and don't like, finding rules that work for you, discovering your writing process so you can get these ideas out. But at the end of the day, don't do things you're not happy. I have a book on outlining, but if you don't like outlining, don't outline. If you love outlining, outline. There are no rules but the rules you need to make this journey fun. Because I promise you, you're going to be writing a lot, reading a lot, and working a lot on the same book until it is done. With that said, number 2, I'm beginning to see a theme here. What's the theme of this book? Who knows? Do you have to know? Well, you can if you want. However, did you know that themes can be written on a micro level within a chapter or scene, touching on things outside the central conflicts theme? Yeah, that's correct. Oh, first, let me touch on that opening beat. You don't need to know your theme going into your narrative. I don't know if you know that. Though you could go, I want to write about found family. I want to write about the struggle of finding your true path. I want to write about the complications of playing it safe versus taking a risk on art. All right. And I personally like to write about found families and other themes, right? So I make sure to keep those elements in there. But here's the truth. The truth is you'll see themes arise over the course of writing a narrative. It just happens. You know, you might just be writing what you're writing and then go back and read and be like, oh, I'm exploring some moral issues here. The ones you do notice, if you like them, I would suggest leaning into them. However, the ones you don't like, you can actually delete or get rid of or pull back. Maybe they're good for a taste. Because it's all writing. You can do whatever you want. You're allowed to change things up. You're allowed to change things up. However, whatever the theme is in the narrative, chapters and scenes can also play with different micro themes. So just because it's found family doesn't mean everything needs to be about found family. You're allowed to play with a new theme in a chapter and then never necessarily explore that theme again, but that chapter should still influence your narrative per se. But for example, the narrative might be about found family, but a single chapter might be about the struggle of identity or the sacrifice of love. Other scenes in the narrative could be about friendship, humor, wisdom, or the difference between the youthful and the aging. You're allowed to explore as you please. And just for the record, humor and friendship might just be a scene where characters are growing their character arcs because we're learning about them, but also they're developing a relationship between the strangers that had to come together, found family, to ultimately solve the issue. But they're laughing, they're talking about, oh, when I was younger, blah, blah, blah. You know, it's a very human moment. But that is technically a theme of friendship, humanity, and, you know, connecting with different people. Other than that, did you know that practice makes When I was younger, I wanted to get stronger, bigger muscles. Okay, I wanted to get out there. I don't have them anymore. I'm old. I'm like 48 now. What is it, 49? All right. But I wanted to do this and be able to run without feeling like I was dying after 10 feet. I liked sports. I was a big sports guy. You know, I did track and field, I played football, basketball. You know, I did it all. Wrestling. So I had to do something. I had to practice to get in shape. I had to practice to learn those games. I had to learn tennis. I had to learn baseball. I had to learn basketball. I had to learn every sport you join, even martial arts. You have to learn the basics before you can get into the crazy, right? So this is the secret to getting better, good, and even great. Also mastering skills in a specific area. It all takes this. You have to practice. Now, in the case of being an author or this video, craft is throwing the ball. Craft is learning how to swim properly. Craft is technique in martial arts and katas. Craft. Can I double dribble? Look, if you're amazing at dialogue but have issues with descriptions, it's time to put some practice into writing sensory descriptions. You're really great at the whole behavior thing for characters, but you're not good at dialogue. Well, this just means take a moment, stop, and put some practice into dialogue. You don't necessarily have to practice when you write either. You can have a side days, 5-10 minutes just practicing dialogue. When you're sitting around, if you're in New York and you're on the train, go on your phone and practice dialogue. If you're on break, play with dialogue. You could do it with anything. It doesn't have to be a full scene. You could just work with a passage, and you could just grow and develop it. Should you practice only when you write? You might be saying, but Thomas, I have books. I got to get the books out. I don't have time for practice. But you can't practice only when you write because you won't be developing your skills. You'll just be working through your skills. It's like writing a song. Okay? I had to practice technique to write different style music. Yeah, I could say, oh, I want to do a gallop here. So I just write a gallop in a song. But if I don't know how to do a gallop, I don't understand how to control it or use it. So I would sit there for hours, right, and just practice. And I would learn other songs. Well, not the whole song, but I learned other songs with gallops to see if I can match the gallops. And that helped me with my technique. You're allowed to practice on specific things outside of just writing your book. However, if you're a skilled romance author, it'll behoove you to try other genres as well because you're trying to grow as a craftsperson. If you are great at descriptions, it's okay to practice on introspective and emotional exploration of descriptions. Of what? Descriptions, such as the wind chilled the edges of windows and the fingerprints of winter's ice. The wind chilled the edges of windows in the fingerprints of winter's ice. Okay? That's a description. However, the emotional description is the wind chilled the edge of his fingers blue, chewing at his mind, seeking any warmth in the cuddle of his body beside the weak fire. Believe it or not, true mastery, getting better, comes from knowing the specific rules of a genre. Sure, but also knowing how to use the skills you have, what skills you need to improve, and how to break the rules to best serve your narrative and your author's voice. For, in the end, it's all about control over what it is you can and can't do. Number 4. Finally, if you're watching my videos, who's talking, character or narrative? Well, if you're watching my videos and you've seen this before, you know that I talk about how your narrative is written through the POV of your character, or rather character. All right? Get it? Character? Like, hey, character, right? It's who they are. It's the things that matter to them, what they say and don't say, okay? And this is doing so because it influences what is noticed, how it's noticed, and the way the descriptors explain the world around the narrator. Because one person is going to see the world different than another. Now, of course, the third invisible voice is you, the author. You do control these characters. You do make choices for them. Your voice has a voice in the chaos of narrative, though it shouldn't be front and center. It can be if that's what you're going for. However, the perspective you choose should be a factor in the approach you'll take and how much narrative is influenced by the characters and by what you're trying to do. Now, see, first person sits in the mind of the actual character. So a narrative is blended into the voice of the character. Your influence as an author is in the presentation, but also in how much you give the flow of prose to the character themselves and the movement of the narrative. See, the writer, you, also makes choices, but they should reflect the character's choices. For third person limited, you're getting a chance to play close to the character and how they see the world. I personally enjoy writing in third person limited because I write like I'm watching a film. It's that nice mixture of framing a shot and being inside the character's emotional experience and choices. Now, omniscient third person is a little different than that. You get to play with the God tone, right? Because you, the author, might fall more into this voice if you like to move everything through your perspective. Because remember, the omniscient narrator is actually a character themselves with personality, or lack thereof. It happens. I would add that it can bring with it a fun play on the movement too. Omniscient can be truly somebody else telling a story, and they're just giving their opinions on things, and they might be wrong or right. It doesn't. They're omniscient. They're telling the story. My point is, use the characters' perspectives to help you guide the lens of your camera. Even if you're not using a film style of writing like I do, it's important to do the narrative right by framing it through the character's emotional experiences and choices, even if it's the first person or third person omniscient. This gives narrative prose character, voice, and movement. Before I get right to the end, remember, makearightlefthear.com. Check me out. I got books for sale. I do speaking stuff. I develop mental edit, and I also teach writing. You can hire me to go, hey, how do I improve my writing? And I will work with you and develop your skill and technique. I have plenty of books you could check out. You know the spiel if you've been watching it or watching my channel. And remember, Patreon, Substack, and YouTube membership. Join one of those. Patreon and Substack are identical because some people like Patreon, some people like the Substack. The YouTube membership gets you extra videos. Keep in mind, though, those extra videos are going to also be available on Substack and Patreon. The reason Patreon and Substack are more money than the YouTube membership is because you get a whole bunch of other stuff. All right. Advice is advice, as advice is advice, but my advice on advice is simple. Listen to it all. Learn what you can, practice what's interesting to you, and research what it means so you can make choices on what you want to use and don't want to use. Choices that will lead you to find out what works and doesn't work for your writing style. Writing is filled with advice, rules, and this is how you do it. And usually, if not always, this advice came from people. That's right. People who had to learn what they liked about writing. Authors one day said, I like this, but I don't like that, which in turn became a rule they wrote by. It's the rule they believe makes a good writer. The authors who have made these choices in what works and doesn't work would then tell other aspiring authors to do the things they personally liked. I believe this is how you write, which in turn created a game of telephone, and the rules changed and evolved over years and years and years. My point is, you always need to be searching, trying new things, learning, and breaking the rules of advice to find your author's voice and what it is you want to write about. We have romantasy because an author said, I want dragons and a happily ever after. This is how we'll one day get Ramhara or Crimance. It's all made up. It's fake. You can do anything you want. Bambi is a movie about talking animals. It's fake. And yes, there are rules to good or even great writing. But at the end of the day, you're the author. Try things, break things, but have fun. Other than that, this was a special request video, so if you have other videos you'd like me to do, let me know in the comments, and I'll randomly record them and get them out for you. If you didn't know, you could subscribe to the channel as well. If you liked what you saw, hit subscribe and the bell icon so you don't miss out. Also, again, if there's a video you want me to do, let me know in the comments and I will happily make the videos. Oh, remember, Saturday and Sunday is live, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Saturdays are always educational or real-time videos of writing craft, and you could ask me any questions you want. I'm a developmental editor and a writing teacher. It's free advice. You ask, I help. And every Sunday is Write a Book with Me from concept to completion. Other than that, I'm Thomas J. Bellezza. As always, keep developing the right mindset. I'll see you next time.